St. Lucia, this is Open Mic, and we're back now to the fourth and final segment of our program. When we left off, we were discussing the pros and cons of politicians, and Dennis was making a point concerning Mr. Guy Joseph, who at one time he didn't have a lot of time for, but as time has gone along, he has now seen another side of Guy Joseph, and I let him do the highlighting.
Yes, because as I said at one time, like everything else, sometimes maybe those of us who are educated, are probably the fools, because we
But before you go, always remember, common sense is not that common.
Exactly.
Okay.
When my mother said that, my mother used to say, si moi te di éducation et puis common sense, moi te gagne danger femme. So I well understand now when I see Guy and how I see that he has progressed over the years. I am thinking that he is, together with Pierre, Emma, real politicians per se. I think a lot of the others play as though they are politicians, but they are not. They don't understand politics from top to bottom. For example, the Minister of Education the other day made the statement that I don't have to speak to the principals. I have my chief education officer, and I'm saying, and I had it in my article, and I'm saying you have to be diplomatic in the way you say, because the principal...
You know what my father used to say? Yeah. You can think what you like, but you can't say what you like.
Exactly, because the principal told me, Mrs. Springer, I've given up because I'm fed up. I cannot take, because to me that was the final straw. It was like an insult. But maybe he didn't mean it in that manner. Yeah. But when you're a politician, you have to be careful in how you say things to people, because you can really hurt the feelings of individuals. Yeah. And one has to be very careful, because these are the same people that sooner or later have to vote. You know what I mean? And that vote matters a lot. So it shows you that to be honest with you, the people who go into a lot of the people who go into politics really don't understand politics, but they go in there because initially they feel they can make a contribution. But when they get there, they realize
how difficult
it is. Because
you take a fellow like Dr. Robert Lewis. Honestly, I like Robert.
Robert has been
a very nice person, But what I've noticed with Robert in the last, should I say, year, I think the pressure has got to him. And sometimes people cannot handle pressure. So I think that comment he made, I did not hear the comment.
I
but
heard it.
If indeed I think it's something that's not the true Robert coming out.
Exactly, but because I was saying at home, oh no, Robert, you don't say that like that, for heaven's sake. I mean, you
now, and you see, and to make your point, you see with Guy Joseph, you never ruffle him.
No,
Guy stays calm all the time.
In fact, he smiles.
He smiles, and they call it the Colgate smile. But you mentioned Philip Pierre.
They call it the poodle smile.
Philip Pierre, I like very much. I've had a very good relationship with Philip. Philip's a decent guy.
Very decent.
But again, the pressure Philip is under is enormous. Because and part of the problem is that you see the Prime Minister is such a strong individual. He doesn't give the guys a chance to breathe. I mean, most of those guys, I've talked to a lot of those politicians, and it's not what they said, it's what they didn't say.
Exactly.
It's what they didn't say. They can't move. I mean, it is felt by some people in the government, I'm not calling names, that even in cabinet, if you just look at the Prime Minister cross-eyed, he doesn't speak to you.
Although in politics, you need a strong leader.
Yeah, but they're strong and strong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you see,
you don't want almost a dictator as a leader.
Correct. But look at Philip Pierre, for instance. Okay, the Prime Minister has used them at times when the Prime Minister's back was to the wall. You take, for instance, was it the gas prices or something recently?
No, the CCC problems, the minibus problem.
Yes. The guy was able to go in there. The people down at the fire services.
Correct.
So it shows that sometimes you can be strong, but not too strong.
Exactly.
You can't be that dictatorial in your views.
You have
to be balanced. And that's the point, for instance, that you're making about Guy Joseph. Guy Joseph, something, even for me, I'll be honest with you, when I listen to Guy Joseph and he says something, he speaks my language. Yes. I understand what the man is saying, He's very, very analytical when it comes to things, and they can say whatever they want about the guy, you know. I mean, they have accused the man of all kinds. And he has said openly to both the Prime Minister and to Philip, you know, let us debate it. I mean, what more can the guy say? Bring your information and I will bring mine. But nobody has said anything. Why? It's very, anyway.
But at the same time, when we talk about the boundaries,
Commission.
the cut that was done by the commission, you have to understand too that, from my information, is that the opposition to an extent was a little bit lackadaisical, which allowed the report from Shirley Lewis and the General Secretary of the Labour Party to be accepted, because they didn't have one themselves, from what I'm getting.
Correct.
And that they decided. So really, sometimes you ask the question, who's to blame? You know what I mean? Blame can be on both sides.
On both sides,
and consequently, we have to be level-headed in when we, and that is what I find in St. Lucia, that people can't be level-headed in discussing things. We take sides and for example, today, I don't know if that is red. Is it red? And you have a red, almost a red tie. And people say, well, I don't get it, you know, I mean, you know, I should have been sitting here with you because of your son using yellow. Not at all. I use what I want.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
this is all nonsense.
Exactly.
I think sometimes it's overplayed and it's silly.
Very silly. And for example, politicians themselves should stop it. Stop the people who think that way. That's what you're in politics for. You're there to lead, and you lead from the front. But they don't do it.
If I was a politician, let us assume I was with Labour, I'd have a T-shirt, red and yellow, representing everybody.
Yes, because you know, I remember President Mao when he came, going back to Taiwan, when he came into office the first time in 2008. What he said was, I'm not concerned about the 7 odd million that voted for me. I'm concerned about the 6 million that didn't vote for me. Yeah. And consequently, these are the people now that I have got to try and bring over, you know, over our side to see our policies. But, you know, having said that, I believe too that even now the opposition should be showing something of what they think, because they can change it as far as policy goes. You know, begin to put things in place, and if times change and the economic situation change, then you alter whatever it is, the policies that you have. But you have to start showing people 2 years or 2 years less, because it is 1 year 10 months before an election is called, apart from the 3 months that the Prime Minister has, that you have something that is tangible. Very important, because people then can say, well, yes, I like that, or that you should, for example, alter it or change it to suit the country's purpose at the time. But always to look at the development of the country, the development of, not the development of Chasney, Springer, or anybody else. It is the country and the little ones that are coming after us. We have to leave something for them that they, at least when we have left it, it's up to them how they use it.
Correct.
But we have left it. But we've left it. We've left them in a good standing. You know?
Now we're getting halfway through the end of our 4th segment, and there's a subject which I want to talk about with you, what I saw in the papers. It's an article written today by John Peters concerning Liat. Now, you heard recently that they are going to lay off 160 employees from Liat, okay? But you know, Dennis, even though they lay off the 160 employees, we still have 2 serious problems with Liat. One is that it is felt generally that there's something wrong in Antigua why Liat is not progressing. And the other thing is this, I don't know whose decision it was, but the fact that St. Vincent, Barbados, and to a lesser extent Dominica seem to be the shareholders in Liat, they just went and purchased, I think it's like 6 ATRs for something like $156 million US, and they got the money from the CDB. You know, I'll tell you something. I don't know who makes those decisions, because I'm told, when you really think of it, St. Vincent has really put their best foot forward in trying to keep Liat going.
Correct.
But the wind factor in St. Vincent affects the landing of the ATR.
Correct.
Now, you know, I'll tell you something. In John Peters' article, he spoke today of, and it's something I've said over and over. You have Caribbean Airlines, okay, run by the Trinidad government, who can afford. They have their plane coming here every day to St. Lucia. I think it takes 75 people. Leaves leaves Trinidad around 2 o'clock, gets here at 3 and turns right around. And why don't they leave the Trinidad, Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia sector to Trinidad? And years ago, we had what you call the Islanders, which had 21
yes,
seats,
quite.
you know?
I
mean, get 5 or 6 of those planes. Those ATRs are very expensive to maintain,
Correct.
and also the cost.
Correct.
You can get some good reconditioned planes, you know, from Canada, and you can have 2-3 flights a day to Barbados, because, you know, right now you want to go to Barbados, you can either go in the morning or go in the, and invariably the planes are always late. And it's affecting us, you know. I mean, really and truly, what is your take on, because it is destroying the tourism factor between the islands, and also the business people get around, because sooner rather than later, people are going to say, you know something, I can't, it takes me too long to come to St. Lucia or to get to Antigua. Let us do our business on Skype.
Yep.
And you know, and that's what's going to happen.
But if you remember when the last government was in power, you know that Gonzalez and Alan
at loggerheads.
they were loggerheads, and I think Gonzalez took a dislike because Alan was not prepared to take taxpayers' money to invest in Liat.
Yes.
Now, people may say at the time, well, we are part of the OECS, a part of the CARICOM, you know, we need an airline that is, you know, depicts that. But the point is, that was the right decision, because when you see a company that is so badly managed,
why are you pumping?
It's like telling me, because of what happened in India, that Caribbean governments have got to go and put money together to pay $42 million to the Indian Cricket Association.
Right.
For me, this is madness.
Totally.
And the same thing with Liat, it follows, would be madness for us to invest in something that is so poorly managed. That is where the problem lies. And if you don't have good management, it's like politics too. You don't have good management to understand the ins and outs of the workings of even the economic situation. Because having a degree in economics is not all. You know, I mean, I'll never forget. I went to do economics at A level. And I was told that no, you registered for social economics, and I thought, good Lord, how will I do that? But I did it on the same common sense and what I knew of economics. Then I went and did it next time. But the point is, and I did it in my labor studies and industrial relation, because I have a triple major in my first degree. And a lot of people think because they're the economists that other people don't understand it. And a lot of us understand, because right now I'm lecturing on business. I'm supervisory management at the Open Campus, and we have a course coming up in May called Advanced Supervisory Management, the Psychology of Management. And that is what our managers should be about. What we have in theory in this country, and I think, again, both governments, I'm talking about both parties, seem to support, is square pegs in wrong holes.
Square pegs in wrong holes.
And you know, look at you, you know, you although you do, but you learn on the way.
I don't have any big degree.
You learn the importance of what it is to manage, to bring your staff together, to do all these sorts of things.
That's very important.
And that is important. And a lot of people out there don't understand it. You know what I mean? And that is probably the same thing that we have with Liat.
But you know something, again, let us hope that somebody is listening to us, Mr. Prime Minister, I support you in the fact that you have not put money into LIAT, despite the fact that people have pressured you. I think you're doing the right thing. But I say to you, sir, think of it where you can use your influence. We need to get 4 or 5 islanders, 21-seaters, to run between the islands, and let's get the country going again. St. Lucia, it's always a pleasure being with you. This is Open Mic. We've now come to the end of the 4th and final segment, and see you next Sunday. Goodbye.